Did you know that Miami is one of the fastest growing cities in the United States and, curiously, was founded thanks to an orange tree? That's right. When a frost devastated the citrus groves in North Florida in 1894, the Miami region remained intact, its tropical climate protecting the crops. This detail convinced investors that there was a future here, and thus was born a metropolis that, in just over a century, has become synonymous with sun, parties, and multiculturalism. But what lies beyond Miami's beaches and glamour? Miami is known as the Magic City, a nickname given to its meteoric growth in just a few decades. First-time visitors are immediately captivated by its unique atmosphere. Skyscrapers shimmering along Biscayne Bay, palm trees swaying in the breeze, and people of all backgrounds crossing the streets. On the same block, you can hear English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese, a reflection of the immigration that has transformed the city into a cultural mosaic. Miami is also a city of extremes, simultaneously luxurious and simple, touristy and local, American and Latin. But does the city's true spirit lie in its famous neighborhoods, or in the small details that go unnoticed? Long before the glitter of casinos and Art Deco hotels, the region was inhabited by the Tequesta Indians, fishermen who lived in wooden huts along the bayfront. For centuries, the Spanish, British, and Americans fought over the territory. In 1896, with the arrival of Henry Flagler's railroad, the small village became a city. By the early 20th century, Miami was already attracting millionaires from the north seeking the winter sun. The true transformation, however, came in 1959 with the Cuban Revolution. Thousands of Cubans arrived in Miami, bringing with them traditions, music, flavors, and dreams of freedom. This wave of migration had an irreversible impact. Little Havana became the city's cultural heart, and Spanish became as widely spoken as English. Decades later, Haitians, Venezuelans, Argentines, and Brazilians also joined this melting pot. Today, more than 70% of Miami's population speaks Spanish at home. But is Miami still an American city, or a Latin American capital rooted in the United States? Geographically, Miami is a paradox. On one side, paradisiacal beaches bathed by the Atlantic. On the other, the Everglades, a biodiverse swamp that seems like an untouched world. This proximity creates a constant tension. While tourists relax on South Beach, crocodiles swim freely just a few miles away. The climate is another fascinating detail, hot and humid, with intense summers and mild winters that attract visitors year-round. But this gift comes with risks. Devastating hurricanes like Andrew in 1992 have already transformed the city's landscape, and there's a silent threat, rising sea levels, which could plunge Miami underwater within decades. Will the City of the Sun also become the submerged city of the future? Miami's culture pulsates around every corner. Wynwood Walls, for example, transformed former warehouses into one of the world's largest open-air museums, featuring murals by international artists. In the Little Haiti neighborhood, drums echo during traditional festivals, while at the Adrienne Arsht Center, operas and ballets coexist with salsa and flamenco shows. Music is a major symbol of this blend. Miami is the birthplace of disco in the 70s, Miami bass in the 80s, and the reggaeton that dominates today. Big stars like Gloria Estefan and Pitbull got their start here, and even Madonna has called the city home. But the question remains, does Miami's musical soul reside in the million-dollar clubs of South Beach, or in the impromptu parties in the Latino neighborhoods? In Miami, drinking a Cuban coffee is much more than a drink. It's a social ritual. Small windows known as little windows. They serve strong shots of sweet espresso, keeping the Caribbean islands' culture alive. Another tradition is Carnival Miami on Calle Ocho, which attracts thousands of people with music, dance, and traditional food. Religious traditions also play an important role. Catholic churches, evangelical temples, spiritualist centers, and even Afro-Cuban practices like Santeria coexist harmoniously. But do these diverse traditions create a city of multiple identities, or a single identity greater than them all? Miami is one of the most filmed cities in the world. Since the 1980s, Miami Vice, it has established itself as a stage for stories of luxury, crime, and glamour. Films like Scarface immortalized its dangerous and fascinating image. Furthermore, Miami is the only major American city surrounded by two national parks, the Everglades and Biscayne. Another curious detail, this is where the largest cruise port on the planet is located, Port Miami. known as the cruise capital of the world. Every year, millions of tourists embark on voyages to the Caribbean. But does this international fame reflect the true lives of Miami residents? Or just an image marketed to the tourist trade? It's impossible to talk about Miami without mentioning its beaches. South Beach, with its Art Deco architecture, is perhaps the most iconic. But there's much more to discover. Coral Gables with the Venetian pool carved from coral stone. Coconut Grove, a bohemian neighborhood surrounded by greenery. Key Biscayne, with natural parks and crystal-clear waters. Little Havana, where you can breathe Cuba in the heart of Florida. And then there are the luxurious shopping malls like Bal Harbour, which welcome visitors from all over the world in search of exclusive brands. But should Miami's tourism be measured by the luxury it offers, or by the authentic experiences hidden in each neighborhood? Miami's food is a reflection of its people. Cuban sandwiches practically a local heritage, just like the guayaba croquettes and pastelitos. In Peruvian restaurants, fresh ceviches are sought after by tourists and locals alike. Asian cuisine features dishes such as grilled fried pork, while Caribbean restaurants offer rice and beans and grilled fish with spices. And of course, Brazil has also left its mark with steakhouses that attract both Americans and Latinos. But is there truly a Miami cuisine? Or does its strength lie precisely in being a multicultural feast? Despite its glamour, Miami faces serious problems. Social inequality is a visible wound. While luxury condos like Fisher Island are home to billionaires, neighborhoods like Overtown struggle with poverty. The housing crisis has intensified, making rent prohibitive for many. And as if that weren't enough, the environmental threat is constant. Miami may be one of the first cities in the world to directly address rising sea levels. But will this bleak future dull the city's luster or usher in a new way of life? Miami is a mosaic of contrasts. A city born from a woman's vision and grown with the strength of immigrants. A place where the music never stops, where the food reflects the world, and where wild nature knocks on the door of modernity. It is at once a tourist paradise and a vulnerable territory, a real city, and a fantasy projected on movie screens. Ultimately, perhaps Miami's greatest mystery is this. It's not just a place to visit, but a stage where each visitor becomes part of its own story. But is Miami deep down more about what it shows, or what it still hides? And now I want to know, if you could choose just one experience in Miami, would you rather dive into its electrifying nightlife, explore its wilderness, or lose yourself in its multicultural cuisine?